reasons, among many, that I am an atheist.
Okay, let's see it.
Have you ever noticed that most people are the religion of their parents? You'd think that if there was one super obvious religion, then everyone would have converted to that by now, but instead, most people are the religion that their parents are affiliated with.
Genuine faith passed down is a blessing. Teaching kids God's wisdom is something we should cherish, as Deuteronomy 6:7 states, but pride and confusion block truth, like your atheism, for example, denying the self-evident creator. Therefore, tradition doesn't negate truth, and Christianity's evidence outweighs atheism's weak logic, which involves living under this deception that there's no creator.
If there is a God, then he must be a really horrible person. It's not uncommon to hear believers say, "Oh, God saved my baby, what a miracle," even though that same God is completely ignoring all of the babies dying in extreme poverty across the world. It seems to me like God favors those who already live in affluent societies who have access to great medical care. But if you bring this up to believers, they'll say some nonsense about how God has to test some people.
We all face trials and suffering in life, but world hunger has been reduced by 50% in recent years, largely due to Christian and humanitarian aid. Yet you claim the problem of suffering makes God evil. That's flat out wrong. Sin brought pain and death into what would be paradise according to Genesis. However, when God does step in, it's always better. God isn't absent, he works through us. So suffering is just temporary, but if you view this life as all there is in the temporary, I can see why you would believe suffering is the end of the world. That's why the eternal perspective is so important.
There's also just no evidence that God exists, and sure, I've heard tons of personal anecdotes about miracles and seeing things that couldn't be explained, but to me, every time I hear a story like that, there's always a more logical explanation for the phenomenon. Some say the human body is evidence that God exists, but it's riddled with design issues. We get addicted easily, our eyes are too weak, we need surgery constantly.
You say that the body's design suggests God, but then you point to flaws. Now, you're right, design is evidence. From the human eyeball to galaxies, complexity points to a creator. Psalm 19:1 states this. As for the Christian worldview, though, Jesus' resurrection seals it. There's hundreds of people who saw him, and they died for what they saw. Mass hallucination, some people claim. Well, science says that's impossible. Roman conspiracy, generations of writing and historical data, including Roman persecution, says otherwise. Thus, the Christian worldview is the most plausible explanation for life and all of the complex questions we have. So thanks for tuning in to Highlight Truth, where we highlight God's truth in a world of confusion.